Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken. On today's show, we're going to go over day one of training camp. Full squad at training camp. We're going to go over it. We're also going to take you to some BTS behind the scenes from Media Day, and you will hear from Philipp Grubauer and Jaden Schwartz after the session one of day one of Seattle Kraken training camp. This is Locked On Kraken, your only daily podcast covering the Seattle Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken. I am your host, Erica L. Ayala. Thank you, as always, for making Locked On Kraken your first listen of the day. Also, thank you if you hopped on playback with me because we were able to watch the second scrimmage of day one together. We'll talk a little bit more about that feature a little bit later. But what's cracking? Well, I talked about the physicals, but there's been some sweet stuff that we've been getting from Media Day. Piper Shaw's been tweeting out. I love that she tweeted. She asked Alex Wenberg, what is beauty? Like, what does that mean in hockey context? And he said, I think something like, me when I'm warming up before a game. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for what Root Sports got for us, for what the Seattle Kraken has for us. It was Media Day. And speaking of, let's take you over to some of what we got to see on Media Day. So we'll start with this little sizzle reel that the Seattle Kraken account put together.
Kraken country. Let's glide.
Let's glide. Kraken country. All right. So I've already seen that part by Shane Wright made into a GIF. Y'all move fast. I love to see it, though. So I think it's going to be fun. Matty Beniers had looks like they've got some icebergs. I don't know, that the guys are skating through. Lots of, lights and smoke and all the stuff. I saw someone posting, it always looks cool post, but do the guys ever feel silly doing some of this stuff? It looks like they're asked to draw the Seattle Kraken logo. I think that was Vince Dunn showing off his hard work there. I'm sure they do feel a little bit silly, but they know it's for us. It's for the fans. So thank you once again to the Seattle Kraken media team. You do a fantastic job. And don't forget, we talked about this in the offseason, or maybe it was during the playoffs. Well, it was our offseason, so who knows. But the Seattle Kraken team, award-winning sizzle videos. Seattle, we're the whole damn show. You're damn right. We're the whole damn show, and we're going to prove it this year. And that's why it was exciting to see the whole squad together. Everybody together, having a good time. We're going to hear from Jaden Schwartz and Philipp Grubauer on today's episode. We're actually going to start with Philipp Grubauer, and that's because everyone's talking about goaltending. Everyone's talking about goaltending last year for the Seattle Kraken. Everyone's talking about goaltending this year for the Seattle Kraken. Night and day, though. Night and day. So what is Philipp Grubauer saying? How is he feeling? How is he looking? We're going to take you over to Philipp Grubauer. And don't forget, if you want to listen to the entire media availability from Philipp Grubauer, best way to do that is to make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Kraken on YouTube, because the YouTube video will be up later. All right, let's take you over to the German gentleman, Philipp Grubauer, talking after day one, session one of Seattle Kraken training camp 2022.
That was first day of camp, opening day.
mean to you? What's it mean to you after being off for about 4.5 months?
Yeah, I mean, first day is always special. It's the first time we sit in the video room together and we go over like systems, so that's kind of neat. What we're looking forward to changing this summer, and what we are like in the season, and what we need to work on.
How much closer do you feel this team is now opting out versus 1 year ago here on the stage?
Yeah, I think after 1 year, like I said yesterday, it was hard last year with COVID and everything to kind of get to know each other. Everybody was a little bit scared that you have to miss like 3 or 4 weeks if you hang out, or like due to the COVID protocol. So there was not much like team building like off the ice. So, but now everybody knows each other, everybody feels comfortable, and I think that's a huge part too this year. Yeah, I don't know, I can't get rid of Berkey. Like he's following me everywhere. I haven't played with Schwartz, but Berkey, huge part of the cup run in Washington, huge part in Colorado. So it's time for him to make it 3. I was joking with him during the year last year when we played Colorado. Hey, you want me to keep a stall open for you during the year? So he finally signed, and it was nice to have him on board, because I've known him since almost I got drafted. So it's a long time, and happy that he's here.
How's it been working with the new goalie coach? How much of an adjustment is that for you?
Oh, it's been awesome. We worked together just a little bit before, and the mentality off the ice and on the ice, and the drills we do, the philosophy he brings in, just small, simple changes, but make a huge impact on the game.
So what stood out to me there, high praise from Philipp Grubauer about Steve Briere, communication. You also heard that Philipp Grubauer talked about the team being able to watch film together, some more game planning. And, I feel that I have a knack for when Philipp Grubauer is comfortable and when he's not. I don't know if this is just my intuition or what. Maybe it's not a real thing, but he sounded comfortable. He sounds like he's in a good place. Sounds like, he's going after it. Of course, he's mum's the word when it comes to what he's actually working on himself. But I mean, the ultimate goal is to win more games. So you heard him talk about a lot of the little things that it's going to take to get this team to the next level. So coming up next, though, on Locked On Kraken, we're going to hear from Jaden Schwartz. Of course, he was in and out of the lineup towards the back end of the season with an injury, so he's going to talk about that, talking about getting comfortable with the team and what's different between this season and last season. So that's what's coming up on Locked On Kraken. But right now, we're going to tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the #1 source for all your football betting info this season. You can find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles right on betonline.net. It's also the fastest and easiest way for you to check on all your favorite sports, including the National Hockey League, but also MMA, boxing, golf, and Major League Baseball. Head to betonline.net using your mobile device, tablet, laptop, desktop, whatever you got. And remember, BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, Seattle hockey fans, thank you as always for making Locked On Kraken your first listen of the day. We've already heard from Philipp Grubauer. Again, this is day 1 of training camp. There were 2 sessions, so I'm coming to you after the second session, which was live streamed. We're going to head to Jaden Schwartz. So again, had an injury last season, was in and out of the lineup, and of course, was asked immediately about that. Let's hear what Jaden Schwartz has to say. Day 1, session 1 of Seattle Kraken training camp.
It looks like you're 100% good to go out there. You feel all healed up after last week?
Yeah, I feel good. Excited to be here and get it going, and excited to be healthy again and feel good. All I could say is I just got a lot of tests done, seen a lot of doctors, and went down some different paths, and feel like I got good help, and feel like I could it could help me a lot this year. So I feel good right now. I think our expectations are a lot higher. We want to start off with taking it
day at a time here and have a good camp. Obviously, our start last year wasn't where it needs to be, so I think that's going to be a big goal for us. But we got a new team this year. We got a lot of new players. We got a lot better over the summer, and I think each guy's hungry to prove ourselves and prove to each other that we can be a lot better, more competitive, and be in a lot better spot this year come March and April. Take one thing from last year.
Yeah, do you guys want to change last year?
I think there's quite a bit. Like I said, I think we're just focused on training camp and getting off to a good start. There's obviously things that we want to change with the outcomes of at the end of the year, but it's a long process to get there. We're not looking too far ahead, but I think guys got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to get to a better start and put ourselves in a better spot.
And so Schwartzy said it. Gruby also said it again. Remember, you can watch these on the YouTube channel in their entirety. So it's a different season. It's a different season because, COVID really made it difficult for that team to bond. And I know we talk a lot about the COVID, like they had how many players pulled before the first game against Las Vegas of all people. And we saw that happening, but it was just a tough season. It was a tough go. Philipp Grubauer talked a lot about the little things that need to change. And I think Jaden Schwartz, what I got from him is that he feels that, it's day one, but that there's more room for improvement for this year. Obviously, everything was trial and error. Everything last year was establishing that baseline. And now that there is a baseline and a basement, the Seattle Kraken are working to move up. So I love it. I love it. I mentioned that today there were 2 sessions. And so I want to talk a little bit about what we saw regarding lines. And so I'm going to take you over to Emerald City Hockey. Emerald City Hockey, another amazing account that you have to make sure that you're following if you're not already. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing if you're not already following Emerald City Hockey? But we're going to go to Emerald City Hockey because Emerald City Hockey has some of the lines that we saw. So let me get rid of my name here, and then we go to Emerald City Hockey over here, and then let me pull this up for you. So again, I love the disclaimer. Day one training camp lines mean nothing, but anyway, here they were. So this was for the first session. You had Burakovsky, Wensberg, and Donskoy, Schwartz, Wright, Lind, Hayden, True, Coleman, and so on and so forth. So obviously everyone wants to know who Shane Wright is going to be like, or be like, yes, and who he's going to be paired up with. But remember, the team was split in half. So they played a portion of the earlier practice, not the full scrimmage, but so this team was split in half. So not only is it a disclaimer that it's day one, but also, again, the team was split. So what we did see, and let me come out of this for a minute. What we also did see is some pairings. So in the second session, it was Matty Beniers. He was in that second session. And so now I'm going to take you to another account that you absolutely have to be following, and that's Sound of Hockey. So Sound of Hockey saying a couple of line combos we liked so far. Donato, Beniers, Bjorkstrand. First of all, you said Donato and Beniers, and Bjorkstrand is probably a player I'm most excited about regarding kind of just what we've heard. And then McCann, Gord, Eberle. We don't know what these are ultimately going to look like, but that sounds like a ball of energy. And I love it. You know I love energy, folks. So we'll see how that pans out. Okay, so coming up next, though, on Locked On Kraken, I want to talk a little bit about the broadcast. So when we heard Eddie Olyczyk talk earlier, we knew that he was going to have, let me close this. We knew that he was going to have responsibilities with TNT. He was like, let's wait and see what the national schedule is like. So I'm going to take you back to that press conference. We've never played it on Locked On Kraken. You might have seen it, though, by now because it was a while ago. But we're going to talk about Eddie Olyczyk Nick Olyczyk also was on with Mike Benton, kind of calling or commentating over the second session for today. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts on what we're going to see and tee you up for a special interview that we should be dropping tomorrow on Locked On Kraken. That's coming up on the show. Thank you, as always, Seattle hockey fans, for making Locked On Kraken your first listen of the day. Thanks for sticking with me. I had to take Monday off. I wasn't feeling well. I still got a little bit of congestion. Got a nice throat lozenge doing its work right now. But 5 days a week, we're back, baby. We are back. And so I mentioned before the end of the last segment that Eddie Olyczyk is going to be joining. Of course, we talked about this before on the show, but he's going to be joining John Forsland and JT Brown. Now, Eddie Olyczyk is going to continue and remain in his national TV broadcast role. So when he talked to media, he talked a little bit about, what he's going to do is going to depend on that schedule. So, of course, that schedule is out. We know what the national schedule is for the Seattle Kraken. That's 15 games on national TV. Only 2 of those are on TNT. Everything else on ESPN. So that's interesting. I think also maybe conflict of interest, although I guess you just is Eddie going to call Seattle hockey games on TNT? I would venture to guess no. But you never know. But also no, probably no. Right. Anyway, it's only 2 games. So I think they'll figure it out. But let's actually take you to Eddie with John and JT. And with Todd Lywicki. And this was the announcement, official, I guess, because we already knew it had been reported. But Eddie Olyczyk coming to the Seattle Kraken, of course, talking about the ties with his brother already here. And now there's even more ties. I mentioned Nick Olyczyk. So let's hear a little bit of this. Again, this will be up on the YouTube channel. And then I'll give you my theory on how this broadcast booth is really going to look.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Todd, thank you very much to you and to your entire staff, and Victor and Katie and Ronnie, of course, and my brother Rick, who is there as well, working right next to Ronnie. So you're right; it's been a long process, 2 months to be pretty much exact, and I just appreciate the patience and also the support of TNT for kind of having to navigate through a couple of potholes here over the course of the last couple of weeks. And without their help, this certainly would not be possible today. I think for me to become a part of the fabric of the community, just to make it perfectly clear, I mean, my TNT schedule has precedent on our local games. So there are going to be games when I'm not going to be around. But it's nothing different than I had in Chicago with the Blackhawks all those years, and they were very accommodating, and certainly the organization is going to be accommodating for me. But I think, for me is I'm going to have to, build that respect and that trust. I saw some comments by Johnny a little bit earlier today about that, that trust with the fan base and to be able to teach the game.
Obviously, it started at the beginning of the year, and then the growth throughout year one. Obviously, you're very happy with it, but it only helps to be able to have the best working with you, and that's our goal. Our goal is to be better, and I think adding you definitely does that. It helps us get to that spot where we want to be.
Right, and the hardest thing to do in this business is chemistry, and I think we have a built-in chemistry with the 3 of us and everybody else involved with the broadcast. So we're proud of it, and it's, again, great to have you on board.
I've worked a long time as in a 3-man booth nationally, and it will not take time. I think we still have a lot of things to discuss when it is the 3-person booth, whether we are in the same booth, or somebody's downstairs. I think those are things we're still trying to get the lay of the land, but I think that. It will not take very long to be able to see things up top that we can't see. And then there are things that the person can't see down low that up top Johnny and I are able to see. And then again, it's all about working off of one another. So I think it'll be a work in progress, but it will not take very long. We want to go 82-0, but we know that, that's not going to happen. But at the end of the day, we're going to have opinions, and we're going to try to, we're not going to try. We are going to entertain our fans. I will promise you that. And we're going to have fun, because we all know in the real world what is going on. We're there to take people away from the real world for 3 hours and sell the Seattle Kraken on Root Sports and sell the great game of hockey. So
Eddie Olyczyk, I know his history on the ice, off the ice, obviously with Chicago, and those connections make a lot of sense. There was something that Eddie said. Again, you can listen to the whole thing, but he said something about hockey is an escape, and sports is definitely, it can be an escape from, or I don't know, escape always seems so. I don't know. Hockey's a way to enjoy life and enjoy family, enjoy friends, enjoy, people that maybe you learn to make your family or your friends. And hockey should not be an escape, or should not be an excuse for us to forget what's really happening in the world. I strongly believe that. We look to athletes as role models in very specific spaces, and in very specific safe ways. Like, there are safe ways that athletes, or more so the leagues that hire athletes, can tolerate. I'm using air quotes for those listening on audio, but there's specific ways that we tolerate athletes being role models. And it's different when you're a broadcaster, because your job is to present and discuss what is, or I should say, your job as a broadcaster is to discuss what's being presented in front of you, the game as it's being played, and then you describe the why. Why did this happen? Why did this break down? Why was this choice made? Why was that choice made? And you create the story, you explain, you narrate what's happening. I think it's a mistake to assume that everyone that's watching hockey wants to escape racism, sexism, homophobia, because some of us experience those things in the hockey space. We see a lack of representation, so we're not escaping. We don't get to escape that. It's always there for some of us. So I hear what Eddie is saying. There's a part of me that sometimes wants to believe it. And we like to have fun here on Locked On Kraken, but you also know I'm going to get real. And so I know I'm talking about it because of Eddie's comment, but I'm not talking about it in relation to Eddie, because I just don't know his style good enough. But when he said that was the one thing that really stood out to me. And I was like, I really hope the Seattle Kraken don't lose that part of their storytelling. Now, that doesn't always come on the broadcast, and so that might not ever be something that Eddie handles. But I think one of the most endearing things about him, as someone, again, who never watched him playing ice hockey, who didn't really listen to much of him calling ice hockey games, because I came from a different part of hockey, one of the most endearing things about his story is his battle with cancer. One of the most endearing things is his story about the love that he has for Chicago and that Chicago has for him. And that don't got nothing to do with the game on the ice. That's all I'm saying. We want to escape, but also when you're in hockey, as long as someone like Eddie Olyczyk, when you're in hockey, as long as some of these players, what is the escape? There's a thin veil of separation between your air quote real life and what you do in a hockey rink. Sometimes you meet your significant other at a hockey rink. You find your next job because you're at a hockey rink. You find your next career because you're at a hockey rink. So I think that separation and that escapism is a farce. And I think there's some of us who can't easily escape, if at all. I don't know. Welcome to my TED Talk, or thanks for coming to my TED Talk, I guess. I got like really, but it just was an interesting comment. But overall, I'm super excited. We are already ranked by The Athletic as one of the best tied for second. Like, okay, like, first of all, we shouldn't be tied. And if we are tied, it should be for number one. But maybe I'm a little bit biased. But so a piece of that broadcast team, Eddie Olyczyk, Nick Olyczyk, we're going to have JT Brown and, of course, John Forsland. Hey, what do you say? That seems like a pretty dynamic duo to me, not to mention the amazing Everett Fitzhugh on radio. Sometimes I'll watch, whether it's whatever network it's on, I will watch the game so I can see the action, and I like listening to Everett. They're not always synced up. Usually they're not. But that for me is actually my favorite game experience. So shout out to Everett. He's been on the pod before. I'm hoping we can get him on again. We might talk baseball though. So if you're not a baseball fan, I don't know what to tell you. But Allison Lucan has also been on the show, and I'm happy to announce Allison Lucan will be returning to the show. So we should have that episode ready for you tomorrow for Friday. Thank you, as always, for listening to Locked On Kraken. And I guess the wellness tip of the day is never feel like you have to fully escape who you are. And never feel that if you need a break from whatever your day-to-day is, that you can't take that. But just remember that whatever we put to the side will be there when we return. The good, the bad, the indifferent, the ugly. And it's about every day working through that, getting help, reaching out, and giving out love. So be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Hold fast. Stay true. Let's go, Kraken. And I will see you tomorrow for Friday's episode of Locked On Kraken. Peace.